Hello friends, welcome to Tricks. Today in this video we will learn about Governor Generals and Viceroys of British India. There were so many Governor Generals, I have divided them into three phases from 1774 to 1858. 1858 to 1905 and 1905 to 1947. Why I have chosen these junctions? Because at these three junctions something important happened. In 1857, first war of independence, and there was a change in administration. Again in 1905, partition of Bengal, there was some change, and 1947 finally we got independence. We will learn about the important governor generals who have given the policies which impacted the administration as well as the life of Indian people. I will talk about the policies and a trick to remember these governor generals chronologically. First phase, Warren Hastings, 1774 to 1785. Warren Hastings is famous for his policy of ring fence. It was an expansionist policy for which he was much criticized and later on impeached also. However, he also brought number of reforms in revenue, judiciary as well as police services. For example, he removed dastaks, he removed dual system of collection of revenue, he appointed an accountant general in Calcutta, etc. Next is Cornwallis. Lord Cornwallis. Lord Cornwallis is famous for his policy of permanent settlement. In this policy, the revenue of the land was fixed for 89%. The land which was auctioned to jamindars, those land had a fixed revenue 89%, and the land belonged to jamindars until they paid regular revenue to the East India Company, and the ryots, the tillers, became the tenants. This was the policy of permanent settlement. Lord Cornwallis is also famous for putting the foundation of Indian civil services by appointment on the basis of merit. Under judicial reforms, he organized civil and criminal courts with the help of William Jones. Third, we have Richard C. Willis Lee. Willis Lee is famous for his policy of subsidiary alliance. Under this policy, any Indian ruler who entered into alliance had to maintain a contingent of British troops in the territory. British troops protected the Indian state from the external aggression and maintained the internal peace, and in turn the Indian state had to give some money or territory to maintain these troops. Protected state had to have no connection with European powers or Indian powers without the permission of British resident. There was to be a British resident at his court. The Indian state has to disband his own army. No employment of European without the permission of this British resident. These were the terms of subsidiary alliance. After Wellesley, there were other governor generals also. They are not that important. Lord Hastings was appointed in 1813, and he also followed a vigorous forward policy and waged extensive wars. Next important governor general we have is Lord William Bentinck. He followed the policy of non-intervention and non-aggression. Before him, all the other governor generals followed a policy of intervention and expansionist policy, but he followed a principle of non-intervention and non-aggression. He tried to maintain a good relation with the rulers of Punjab and Amirs of Sindh. During his time, Indus Navigation Treaty was signed. The Governor General of Fort William became the Governor General of India. So Lord William Bentinck was the first Governor General of India. He also appointed a law member to the Governor General Council, T.B. Macaulay. Another important policy of Lord William Bentinck was that no native or any natural born subject to be debarred from holding any place, office or employment. This led to the foundation of public services. Lord William Bentinck is also famous for bringing the law for the abolition of sati in 1829. He also took steps to remove female infanticides. These were the important aspects of William Bentinck's term. After him, Lord Metcalfe, Lord Auckland, Lord Ellenborough and Lord Hardinge came. During the time of Lord Metcalfe, new press law removing restrictions on the press was brought. In Auckland's time, first Afghan war happened. During Ellenborough's time, annexation of Sindh and war with Gwalior took place. And during Lord Hardinge, first Anglo-Sikh war and Treaty of Lahore was signed. Fifth important Governor General is Lord Dalhousie, 1848 to 1856. His policy of annexation, also known as Doctrine of Lapse, we all are familiar with this. Apart from Doctrine of Lapse, three important features, railways, telegraphs and postal reforms was brought during Lord Dalhousie's time. First railway line was established in 1853 from Bombay to Thane. In education also, Wood's Dispatch, which supported comprehensive scheme of education at primary, secondary and college levels and supported English as well as women's education. During Dalhousie's time, there is one more important thing that happened, that was the passing of Widow Remarriage Act in 1956. After that we have Lord Canning, who was also the first Viceroy of India, made by the Act of 1858. After 1858, the Governor Generals came to be known as the Viceroy, and during his time, the Council Act 1861 was passed. To remember these Governor Generals and their important policies, I have made a small story. Imagine there is a person called Peter who is living in countryside and he has to go to war, but there is some dispute with his neighbor who is a widow. But before going to war, he constructs a fence because he has some dispute over the cornfield. There is a well also in that cornfield over which he cannot construct that fence. So he signs an alliance with his neighbor that he will not intervene, and in return, his post, telegraph, rail, and ticket would be taken care by Dolly, who is a widow, and she is the neighbor who is living by the Peter's house, but she is cunning and wise. Wise means immoral. To relate it to the Governor Generals, from Warren Hastings, he constructs a fence, and Warren Hastings' policy was ring fence. So relate Warren with fence to settle the dispute over corn, and from Cornwallis policy was permanent settlement. Settling the dispute over corn means Cornwallis policy of permanent settlement. But for Will, he signs alliance. From Will, we can remember Wellesley, Lord Wellesley, and his policy of subsidiary alliance. From alliance, you can remember that we are talking about subsidiary alliance. He will not intervene. From Will, William Bentinck and his policy of non-intervention and non-aggression. So he will not intervene means William Bentinck's policy of non-intervention. In return, his post, telegraph, rail ticket would be taken care by Dolly. From Dolly, you can remember Dalhousie. Dalhousie initiated post, telegraph, railway line, etc. And a widow. From widow, you can remember Widow Remarriage Act. During Dalhousie's time, Widow Remarriage Act was passed. These all things are related to Dalhousie, and that is why Dalhousie is also known as maker of modern India. But she is cunning and wise. From cunning, you can remember Lord Canning, and from wise, you can remember that Lord Canning was the first Viceroy of India. The story is, imagine there is a guy, Peter, who is constructing a fence because there is a dispute over the cornfield, and there is a lady who is widow who lives by his side, and he signs an alliance with this lady because there is a well and he cannot construct fence over it. In return, this lady will take care of the post, telegraph and etc. that will come to his house when he is not there. But this lady is not good, she is cunning and wise. This is the story. Hope you will easily remember this story, and in this way you can remember all the Governor Generals chronologically as well as their policies for which they are famous. Hope you like this trick. Please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to give a thumbs up if you like this video. I will be making similar videos, and remember that 2 phases are left. I will complete that video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.